Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Roundtable as a continuation of the conference, Global Crisis Time for the Truth, that a lot of people joined all over the world live yesterday, and it broke all the records, and it was an event that has been in preparation for 4 months. And we saw what kind of big difference was it compared to the previous one, and how many new facts we could present, how many specialists from different spheres of scientific research. And we are happy to have amazing scientists here with us today. And let me allow Anna to present some of them, and we will have more coming on the way.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our international discussion. And let me introduce our honored guest, Professor Arthur Vitorito from United States, who is a philosopher and degree in geography, policy advisor with the here at Land Institute. Also, we are happy to that we today are also with Prince of Dombo from Democratic Republic of the Congo. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you Manoj Gurani from India, social and human rights activist, anti-trafficking specialist. Thank you also Gregory Wrightstone, geologist with more than 35 years of experience researching and studying various aspects of the Earth's processes. Thank you so much for joining, and also participant of the Creative Society Project, Edward Shatokhin, and our dear Dr. Konstantin Rybachuk, Associate Professor, Deputy Director of the Medical Testing Board, Ministry of Health of Ukraine. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jonat Rivet, Strategic Sales Development Manager, for this possibility for us to talk about this event of a big scale, which took place on the 4th of December 2021, where we talked about many crucial and vital important things. And I just want to remind that it was all organized by volunteers, and it had simultaneous interpreting on 100 languages. So thank you so much for supporting us and for spreading this truth in all over the world in so many languages. And we would like to start from the question to every one of you. What do you think about this conference? What is your feedback? What were your understandings, feelings, impressions? Could you please, in this free form, just share with us what do you feel, and what do you feel important to share now with everyone who will watch us or who are watching us now?
Maybe we can start with Prince Okita, please.
I'm very happy to be part of this conference, and also regarding the feedback, to me it's very, very positive, because there are some people in the part of the world who have lost the hope, but by seeing what Creative Society Conference is doing, this to me, it gives us hope of living, because some of us have a loss hope of living for what is happening in the world actually. But when I was watching, I think 2-3 hours ago, and I was watching some of the intervention from this conference, to me, I could feel in me a joy and a hope, believing that with the truth we can change this world. And what makes me amazed from this conference is about the truth, because I think we are hiding, we are skipping to say the truth to the world. And through this conference, I think the world have something to hear from the participants. So I'm very, very happy, and it's very positive for me.
Thank you so much, dear Prince Akita. And yes, that's truly amazing that we can present truth and have specialists from different sides of scientific research. For example, one of my favorite speeches of yesterday was definitely Arthur Vitorito, who presented amazing, outstanding facts about how connected the earthquakes and the geothermal activity on the bottom of the ocean, and how these facts were for multiple years ignored by the science, that we didn't take into account that maybe something can be occurring from the bottom of the ocean. And Arthur, could you please let us know what exactly was it that helped to make this breakthrough? Because we know, according to your research, that since 1995 we already knew that something was happening over there, right? 1995 was a turn point, and after that we have much more talk about the specific connection of earthquakes and the geothermal activity.
Well, thank you for your kind words. I'm very happy to have presented this. What got me started was a question from a student at my college where I was teaching. And the student simply asked, are earthquakes increasing or not? And I said, well, they have been a little bit, but I haven't really taken a deep look at the literature on this. So I went and examined the data from the U.S. Geological Survey, plus also from the Global Seismic Network, and found some pretty astounding things. I found that the earthquake activity on the ocean bottoms showed a huge jump in activity starting in 1995. And in fact, I have a paper now that is going out this week for consideration for publication called 1995, an inflection point in the recent geophysical history of the planet, where I outline a number of the things that have changed dramatically since then. That is, we say that the system is what we call nearly intransitive. We get these huge jumps and these sudden changes. And this was one that had gone unnoticed and pretty much ignored in the literature. And I can speak much more about the literature and the fact that these sorts of things aren't being done because it was an extremely difficult process trying to get this published. It was rejected from 9 different journals. In fact, half of the journals I sent it to wouldn't even review it. They said, don't you know that carbon dioxide is what's causing the globe to warm? And we think this a bit frivolous. So it was very, very hard to get this work published, and it still is very hard to get this work published. I think Sterling Burnett did a good job explaining how a well-known physicist, William Happer, is trying to get some of his research published on this. And I see this as a huge impediment going forward and something that needs to be fixed in the scientific literature.
Next question I would like to address to Gregory Wrightstone, because that's actually just as Arthur said, we have this agenda that CO2, 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 and nothing else is being even taken into consideration. And recently we've been seeing this a very dangerous path where voices who are not aligned with this general agenda of money making on certain subject called CO2, and we know that for many people, as one of the speakers says, all this talk about green energy and green agenda is only green for the pockets of certain individuals, making their wallets greener, but not actually helping with ecology, not actually helping with anything else. And those scientists who are trying to present the facts that can be a little bit outside of the agenda or hurt somebody's profit, they're just being silenced. Their apps being deleted from the app stores, their accounts being deleted. And I know that Gregory was recently facing that with his LinkedIn account. So could you tell us a little bit more about this and where are we going with this path, actually?
Well, I'm currently executive director for the CO2 Coalition, and Arthur just referenced Dr. Will Happer of Princeton, emeritus professor there, being silenced. So I'll be talking with Will Happer later today, talk with him on a daily basis. And we at the CO2 Coalition are kind of I like to think of us as the tip of the spear presenting the science that disputes this notion of man-made catastrophic warming. A number of people demanding that Facebook remove our Facebook page. My scientific app, Inconvenient Facts, we rolled it out. We had over 20,000 downloads in 24 hours, and Apple removed it from the App Store. They said that it lacked compelling content. Well, if it's free to download, you can download it. with 60 of the top inconvenient facts. It's back up now and available. I was recently banned permanently from the social media platform LinkedIn back in August. Again, I'm a scientist. I was accepted as an expert reviewer for the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, this background, and I post scientific information. In August, LinkedIn started removing almost every time I would post something factual and scientific, they would remove it immediately and call it false and misleading. In September, my very last post on LinkedIn, I said, I think I'm about to be banned and deplatformed. That post was removed. It was called false and misleading. And then they banned and deplatformed me, which is, it's kind of funny. You don't know whether to laugh or cry, but so I'm banned permanently for posting factual data. So no, I've experienced it, and so have we at the CO2 Coalition. And in the chat here, you can click on the link to see, go to our website. We have a huge amount of factual data there that you can access. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I would like to go back to talk about your impressions about this conference. Yes, because it is really very great event when you can see people from so many countries, so different people, you know, so many scientists and different specialists. And it is really a big deal to get together, all of us, and to talk all the truth we have, to have this possibility to share what we really know, what every one of us who took part in it, what experience do we have in our professional sphere, you know, in our studies and in our lives, because what the importance of this event is also that every person who participated there was just sharing the most important thing for him or herself with the humanity. And as we can see that all these things are important for every one of us. And I would like to ask also Manoj Gurani, who is anti-trafficking specialist. Yes, I know that you also was very inspired by this conference, by those people, and by the project Creative Society. Could you also share with us, please, what do you think about it? What do you feel about it?
See, first of all, I want to thank you, the participants and the organizer of this Creative Society. And it was this privilege. Somehow I got to know about this Creative Society. So I had virtual, talks with many participants. So people here gather who are gathered here that I feel they have concerns for the society, and now the people are realizing the global crisis, and they are coming together. So also first time yesterday when I attended the event, so I was able to hear many personalities and many people who were raising their voices. So I feel it is somehow it is a great platform that people are gathering together for a cause. So I call global crisis. So global crisis, that also the slogan was the time for the truth. So time for the truth, when people are realizing, okay, if we are going to harm, so that is this but environmental crisis, you can say, how people are facing the problems. Yesterday when first time I heard about this one land call that a person called that it is going to sing. So I forgot that name. Also many people raise the voices. We know very well that the human being is the responsible to take care of this planet, because I feel this is the precious gift from the God, and everyone responsible to take care of the planet. Whatever the violation is going on, you can say the natural and the created by the human being. Natural, why the disaster, the problems are going on natural because we are, this we are unbalancing the natures. So in the name of development, there are many that violence of the lands and the trees. So people know I'm very thank you and for the Creative Society. I got opportunity to join the people who are gathered here to for a class. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Manoj. And also, although there were so many problems announced yesterday, and definitely we as humans, we created this islands of plastic in the ocean that even people who flew into space were on International Space Station. They said, we can see that from the sky, how much damage we did, how much we pollute our planet. We can see that pieces of Amazon forest that have been cut out, that's also seen from space. But what it really was about, it's about the solution, and the solution cannot be solved in this format of the society where we put the money first. So I would like to ask our guest from Netherlands, Jonathan, why is it so important to make a solution, and what is the solution actually? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Definitely there is a solution, and I think that's maybe the most important thing that we get out of this conference, more than just understanding the problem. It's also realizing that there is a solution and that all together, uniting, we can implement it. This solution is simple because the truth is simple. The conference was time for the truth. It's basically time for the simple truth that the Creative Society is the answer. The 8th foundation that has been found by asking people, really just asking people over years and years of social surveys to get to the point where we have those 8 foundations lining up the perfect society for us is very resonating for me, and I think it's resonating for everybody that has been part of this conference. And to be able to strive for this, I think it's the most important thing that we can get out of this conference. So unity, being able to get to the technical knowledge that we don't have yet, but we should get by uniting to be able to solve all those issues that we uncovered yesterday. And be able to all together, once again, it's not just one country who's going to do everything for everybody, but it's really together that we can move forward for a better future. So thank you for having me once again to give my feedback on this conference.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. And I would like just to offer all of us to watch a short video about this conference before we continue sharing our impressions, our feedbacks. Let's just watch a beautiful video about the conference. Thank you.
Four months have passed since the time of the previous conference. And over this relatively short period, we have seen how much the progression of climate change and environmental degradation has accelerated. It's important not to remain silent because this survival of all humanity is at stake. It is time for the truth.
We are now in a world where every single day, somewhere in the world, a climate extreme event is going to take place that will break the world record of that particular place.
The European floods this summer or the Western North America heat wave this summer. Both of those extreme events were due to the jet stream reacting in very unusual ways, in ways that climate models did not predict would happen.
But when I'm out in the field, I always hear people say that I never thought it would happen to me, and they're always surprised. Can you imagine how devastated you would be if you lost everything that you owned? If you watched the people around you, the people that you love, struggle and suffer or even die?
We have to understand we're one people on one planet, and it's up to us together to solve these problems.
We cannot leave it to our leaders. The leaders have shown that they are not up to the task. The leaders think of themselves as leaders of their own country. They don't care about the rest of the world.
The problem right now is we've all surrendered a certain amount of our power to centralized authority, and they're trying to use that to take over everything. And they've been using this excuse of anthropogenic global warming in order to try to consolidate their wealth and control. So we've got to just completely abandon and expose that.
The discussion about the climate is narrowed down to the reduction of CO2 and global warming gases. And I think the problem is much broader than that.
Nobel Prize winner Sukuro Manabe showed that doubling of CO2 concentration would increase temperature without considering water vapor by 1.3 degrees Celsius, whereas when you do take into account the moisture content, the temperature would increase by 2.3 degrees Celsius. In other words, its increase is almost 2 times faster. Anthropogenic global warming is a grandiose scientific scam of the 20th century.
When you actually go back into geologic records, ice core samples, volcanic data, 12,000 years ago, it was Campi Flegrei in Italy. 24,000 years ago was the Tambora in New Zealand. That lines up exactly with the cycle.
Green energy is not green at all. Wind power is not green because wind farms require enormous amounts of concrete and metal to construct, disturb wildlife, harm human health with noise pollution, kill hundreds of thousands of birds each year, pollute our air and water supply. We pay high prices for something that will never meet our needs.
We need to build a humanity that lives like a beehive, and we have to build a society that puts human life first. If we combine our scientific, technological, and intellectual resources, we can solve the problem of climate change.
Let's follow the Creative Society's survival guide. The 3 easy steps. Learn more, spread information, and unite to build a creative society.
After all, this world is given to all mankind with only one purpose: to live and be healthy, happy, to create and not to destroy.
The Creative Society is a project of everyone. We do not collect any donations or funds that disappear in the deep pockets. Instead, each person acts in their abilities and uses resources they already have. It is your opportunity to be a part of the solution and live out your superhero potential.
So yes, it was a really amazing event, and it was really inspiring to hear all this information, that it is possible to change everything. It is possible that we got united and just can change this world. For me and for many other viewers, this conference was life-changing, really life-changing. When you watch just one part of the conference, you have only one side. But when you see the whole, the complete conference, you really understand what amazing work was done. And now I'd like to ask feedback by Konstantin Rybachuk. Please, can you please share your understandings and what this conference meant for you, and we're glad to hear that.
Sash, thank you very much, dear friends. Welcome. First of all, I'd like to begin with expressing my feelings after the conference, because I participated in the conference both as a speaker and as an interpreter. Well, yesterday was a very important day because right now I'm talking from, me personally, crossed the line life before the conference and life after the conference. I personally experienced, the whole spectrum of different feelings and emotions during the conference. I was happy, I was sad, I was angry, I was mad, I was disappointed. I was, glad to see some things, but I was very sad to see the other things. So during the conference, that was the whole, like I said already, the whole spectrum of different emotions and feelings. But in the end, I was really happy. And what made me very happy is that people, they stopped being afraid of telling the truth. The conference showed that our society is sick, and sick very badly. It is sick. But the other important thing that we understand that in our society we have very serious problems, and we voiced those problems. It means that right now it is the time to start recovering as a society. I was analyzing at night, this morning, during the day today. I mean, like, what the hell was going on in our world, with our society? I mean, like, what kind of, stupid game are we all playing? Are we trying to earn some money? I mean, like, for what? For what reason? How much? All the money in the world are you planning to earn? I mean, like, what's the final goal of this game? It's like some kind of, like, childish, that play field with the sand, where we are, trying to be the king of the hill, of the mountain, whatever. But in the end, that we are all grown-ups, and we have realized that keep living like that, in the end we will become the king of the landfill. Nothing more. I mean, what's next? What are we doing then? What are we trying to achieve? I mean, we as a society, as a scientist, if we really, start thinking in the different way, if we stop thinking in the consumerist format, using the categories like I, me, for me, that's mine, and so on and so forth, and start thinking in the other way, like we, us, for us, together, the world is gonna change. The world is sick, but at the same time, uniting our human potential, we're all good at something. I mean, in medicine, in education, in physics, biophysics, biology, whatever, astrobiology, geology, many other things. We can live the world that worth, living and fighting for, and living for, like, many other generations. That's what we need to do and need to, fight for. It's very sad to look, for example, when, we're polluting oceans, land, even in the space, there is quite a lot of trash flying around the earth. Why? Guys, really, why? Is that kind of a game, something like connected with suicide or whatever? I just don't really understand what kind of game it is being played by people, but for what reason? I want to say that we need to change, really. We really need to change, and we need to stop playing this. I don't know, it's not even a game, it's a suicide. We need to stop playing it. Because, I remembered the book, which was written over 100 years ago by one of the Ukrainian writers, Mikhail Bulgakov. And there was a conversation between two writers, and they sat in the park. And he was asking them, like, what are you doing? What are you living for? And they began, telling that we would like to do this, and this, and he said, like, okay, if you want to do this and this and many other things, you're supposed to have some kind of a plan. I mean, like a serious plan, at least for 1,000 years. But when you live for about 70 years, I mean, like, is that worth it? The same question that we need to ask ourselves: what are we living for? To create a bigger landfill that someone else did to become then in the end the king of that landfill? I don't know. But I want to emphasize that we really need to change, and we need to change right now. And it's not difficult. The only thing that we need to change is to change our mind thinking. We need to stop being consumerist. We need to begin be the creators. I mean, you can become happy in this world. I mean, I understand that people, when they're trying to earn as much as possible money, to feel free, to be happy. But from my understanding, there is only one way you can become happy in the society, in the world, only if you're making other people feel happy. If you want to be loved, you need to learn how to love other people, and then they will love you. If you're making someone happy, then that person will be making you happy. I mean, it's not, the one-way street. It is always a two-way street. I mean, you're doing something good for the other person. Of course, that person will do something good for you. It's not like an example. For example, when you're driving in the car to work and, there is another street that, goes into your highway, and someone is sitting in the car waiting to make the left turn on your line, and he's waiting, then someone stops and he let that guy get into that highway, and he signals you saying like, thank you. At the next intersection, that guy, he stops and he lets another car, get into this highway. I mean, it's like one good turn deserves another. You did something good for that person will do something good for that other person, and in the end, that good will return to you. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, we need to stop. We need to stop being pretending someone who we're not. We're trying to be a scientist, a politician, a doctor, a teacher, whoever, but we forget that we're all human beings. We're living on the same planet, and right now we're living in a time when there are no borders. I mean, information technologies, they like get rid of any kind of borders. We finally became like a one family. When we are doing something bad in our country, it will definitely do good to the other country. If we pollute the river in our country, this polluted water will go to the other country. Same with the ocean, with the air, with everything. I'd like to repeat myself, but the life has changed. I mean, we've crossed the border after the conference, and there is no way back, because we know the climate is changing. There are, environmental problems. There is not so much fresh water left, forest left, clean land left, and we need to change right now until it's not too late.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Konstantin. This is true that we really need to change lots of things. We need to start changing many things right now. And also, we understand that here, in this time, we are living in lots of crises, different crises, yes? And people can discuss, people can argue whether we have this crisis or that crisis or something like that. But actually, let me just share the understanding that if in one society, if on one planet where we all are living, if even one person suffers from something, whether it is a lack of food, of house, of I don't know, water, and so on, whether it is violence, whether it is war or some conflicts, no matter what is the reason. But when we know that someone is suffering, it is already urgent, because we are now talking about the climate change. We came to this point, to this moment when we must change lots of things, that we must change our society. But let us just remember that it is not normal when something is going wrong, even without climate change. Now it's just the high time, we just can't wait. But we must make changes, because we need to be more humane as a society.
Anna, please, I would like to add just one little phrase before our friend Gregory want to add something. Why we need to change? Because, we cannot build an island of happiness in the sea of grief. That's impossible. It's either we all will, make the world a better place for everyone, or that's gonna finish all of us. Thank you.
To continue our conversation, I think that we can present our new guest here. We are very glad to see you, Tali. I think that you know better than me even how to present our dear guest, Christina. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, Christine and I actually met in Los Angeles on the red carpet of the film about the war in Armenia. And Christine is the president of AIWA San Francisco, so Armenian International Women Association. And I would like to point out that, one of the things was told that even if there was no climate change, isn't that means that we still have to live by the way we live now, when we have half of the population of the earth living in poverty, 2 billion people don't have access to clean food and water, where we have 86 million people had to become refugees last year without even ability to be provided with basic needs and protection. What kind of society do we want to live in? And when I asked this question, Christine, she said, actually, maybe you could tell me what exactly did you say, Christine, and why we got so excited hearing your answer.
Yeah, I think, one of the things we had spoken about is really how we prioritize thinking about our humanity and our shared Earth home. And, as we look at different issues and think of them scientifically or from a philanthropic perspective, a business perspective, one reality that seems to be consistent is that we tend to prioritize profits over people. And I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't be, making money, having large margins, or being profitable, but we have to think about how we prioritize the profits. And to the extent that we're prioritizing profits over people, then, we're not going to be doing what's best for humanity. We're not going to be honoring our shared Earth home. And I think oftentimes it's easy to forget that, we do share this time together as humans on one Earth. And it's easy to say sometimes, not in my backyard. We spoke about the 45-day war that happened in Armenia and the disputed territory of Artsakh. And, it didn't get a lot of coverage. It was easy to say, oh, that's this little, disputed territory that has had conflict for hundreds of years, thousands of years, some may argue. And, it doesn't affect me, and it's fine. But we saw drone warfare, we saw cyber warfare, we saw all sorts of misinformation that was quickly being distributed through social media via bots. And, it raises the question of, how is warfare going to look in this new world? How are we going to care for our shared humanity, and what does that look like? Because the reality is that we are all connected. We all share, like I said, one Earth home, and it's important to think about what our priorities are.
Thank you so much. Definitely, without having a vision of society in which we would like to live in, it's impossible to build it, because just as human life doesn't make sense without the goal, us as the society, we should have a goal to aspire to. And I know that Gregory Wrightstone has to leave soon, so I would like to address this question to you, actually. Mr. Wrightstone, what kind of society do you think we should aspire to, and what is your vision of the society that you would like to live in?
Well, if we're looking at, I want a society that values humans. When it comes to climate change, I think we need to utilize all of Earth's resources for the benefits of mankind and do it as good stewards. That's a one-sentence thing that everyone should adopt, and that is use all of Earth's resources for the betterment of mankind and do it as good stewards. We need to, we see that just in India alone, again, I work with a gentleman, our colleague over there, 350 million people without electricity, 350 million people living in energy poverty who are cooking over dung in their own homes. And we've got people that want to prevent them. It's the new Western colonialism of Africa and India and the developing nations that we want to impose our imagination of a low CO2 economy when the People's Republic of the Congo, India, they desperately need the fossil fuel driven or nuclear power driven, reliable, abundant energy that can lift people up out of generational poverty. And that's what I tout. And again, I look around and I just see Earth's ecosystems thriving and prospering, and the human condition is prospering nearly worldwide. We should celebrate that. We have people that want to stop that prospering that we get from the reliable, abundant energy and affordable energy that are benefited from fossil fuels. If you go to sub-Saharan Africa or India, we see people who, VJ just wrote a commentary recently about a woman he knows that spent almost her life savings buying an electric, she's a seamstress, an electric sewing machine. She spent all this money, but yet the electricity is out for 2/3 of the day. And now she can't make a living. It's little stories like that of the people we don't hear of. So no, I care more about lifting people up out of poverty than I do with trying to solve a non-existent crisis.
Thank you so much. I think that yes, we should take care each of us. We should take care like we are one big family, and we should understand that no matter where you live and what are the conditions, we should always try to better all the conditions. And actually, as we know that we are in front of many changes. We also should be all prepared, because now this country is suffering more of poverty and so on. But tomorrow we understand that life of every person can change due to all this crisis that we are living, and also the climate crisis. Surely lots of people are already suffering. This crisis is already taking away lives. So we should be aware of it, and we should take care, each of us should take care of others. And that's why we need so much to unite. And I also would like to pass the word to Edward Shatohin, who hasn't shared his impression about the conference yet. So we would like to hear you also.
Hi everyone. It's a great honor to be part of such a wonderful event. Yesterday, I did my little tiny piece, but it affected me just speaking about it, watching the videos. It touched me deeply, because as I was throwing a bottle of a glass bottle into my recycling bin, it brought it back to me, and I thought to myself, well, where is this going to go now? Is it going to end up in a recycling place, or is it going to be at some dump halfway across the globe? I live in England, and yes, things are, pretty much so we're told okay here with recycling, but not good enough. And it makes me think that a lot of countries in the West, because of their wealth, can afford to sell their rubbish to third world countries where ecology is destroyed and everyone that lives there then suffers the consequences. It isn't funny. It's not something that should be looked over easily, and I think something should be done about it. It's very important that another message. I'm sorry, I just directed a bit. Another message that I got was that yes, actually, our planet is round and everything is connected, no matter where you are on the globe. Listening to Gregory's comment just now, it sort of had all sorts of things in my mind, going through the crises that are apparent today are just impossible to ignore. I mean, the statistics is all very well and the science is all great, but you have to look at life, what real time, what's happening right now. And all the forest fires that we've experienced in the past, 6 months now, they're not decreasing, they're increasing. So I don't know, I didn't have a chance to ask Gregory how the statistic is and how current the facts and figures that he has are. So that's one other thing that I just thought to mention just now. But I think the beauty of the conference that took part yesterday, and I was so happy that it did, because the amount of people that took part in preparing and organizing everything, and the amount of information that was conveyed in that conference was unbelievable. I think a lot of people can now have free access to that information and watch it at their own leisure in bits, acceptable, in pieces that they can, take in and comprehend. Because I'm sure to rewatch the conference several times myself in the near future, because there's just so much to take in and to comprehend, understand, and just to fathom what was said there. I think we'll see the benefits of it for years to come. And I think it inspires not only us taking part in doing it, and that's why we're doing it, being volunteers, but I think it would inspire many, many generations to come, because obviously my son was here yesterday as I was doing it, and bless him, he stayed up and he sort of supported me with what I was doing. And now he's aware what I care about, and he's aware that his future is what I'm worried about and what we are trying to do, make changes, make a difference, so that he has that future. And obviously with that awareness, he should also take this on and carry it in his life, pass it to his friends and so on and so forth. So I think I must thank everybody that took part, and thank you all to being here and discussing this further and sharing your views. Thanks. I'll finish there for now. If you have questions, obviously tell me. Otherwise, I'll go on forever.
If it's okay, I'd like to piggyback on what Edward just said, just the tremendous information and how international this conference is, the fact that you have all put it together and shared such important, tremendous information. I think, Edward, to your point, I watched bits and pieces yesterday with my children, and as we were cleaning up and putting things in the recycling bin, my 8-year-old started asking me the same thing. Where does all this trash go? What happens to it? Because we consume so much trash all the time. So the relevance of this is so important generationally, but also the fact that this is being translated in so many languages. You've brought experts and people from all over the world is absolutely tremendous. So thank you again for putting this together and making the information accessible to all. It's a really big deal. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, because really your words are also inspiring. And I want just to share that really, as you're told, that many people are inspired by these actions, because our actions are this strong power that can inspire other people to act. We are all good people. We just need this example. We just need to be more initiative. And I also would like to know what is the impression of this about this conference of our dear Professor Arthur Viverito. Please, could you also share with us what is your feedback about the conference?
I echo the sentiments of many of those who've spoken so far. I'm very, very impressed with the scope of the work that was done here. There was a tremendous amount of information, much of it unknown or poorly known by most folks. And I thought you did a great job putting this together. It's obvious that thousands and thousands of hours went into preparing this conference and preparing the talks. It was a truly remarkable effort, and it's on a scale that I've never seen before. And I applaud you for your good work.
It's really, if I may add a bit, so it's really amazing to participate and to see how really a lot of people do their best. I mean, we are just ordinary people. We are just like someone is scientist like me, someone is economist, doing some other profession, just many, like I cannot even say how many people participated in this conference, and they just with this deep understanding of this need of what is really going on, they do really their best to research some topics, even without maybe some prior knowledge how to do research, and they learn during this process because they understand the importance. They understand the importance of the situation, what is going right now. We see these climate changes, like this thing that is really make me wordless. When we see this scale, for example, what happened from this last conference from July 24th till the 4th of December, we have saw it with our eyes. We see these changes and we understand that we must make this change. We must change something, because every minute of our delay will bring only death. And this important is drive all of the participants of Creative Society to make their best, and in our spare time, in our free time, participate despite any changes.
I want to add something. See, everyone gather here for a cause, and people feels the harms of this global crisis. It can be divided it as as a environmentally, and as a socially, and as a humanity. So we are the responsible of to take care of this society. So this time is to not for discussion, and it's time to take plan and actions. So somehow, so people are, how the professor said that first time he heard about this conference, and he was waiting for this type of the conference. So I feel this platform will bring the changes what we are facing currently. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Manoj. And I would like to ask Prince Okta, what are actually the actions, what are the steps after watching the conference? What do you feel is important to take action about?
Thanks so much. To me, I just wanted to go back a little bit on what Gregory was saying, because it was very, very important what he said. That if you look at today, in today's world, it's like we are, personally, I'm asking a question, the same thing like Gregory, like what he said. inside of the crises being decreased, we're seeing that the crises are increasing. And which, for some people like us who are coming in the place where we did not have any hope, and we came where we are, or where I am today. When you look at what is going around, xenophobic attacks, all those things, crises, and you ask yourself the questions: is it going to be going to have a great society one day? But there is a hope because we still alive. So for me, there's one thing that I've learned through this conference is I think one of the participants said regarding the being united, because what will make us strong to conquer is by being united, is by being all of us being in the same page, by being united, and that will make us being also powerful to spread the truth, because there are things that need to be told. There are things that need to be spoken for the people to know that how are we going to make our society great. The people to understand that is not about a color, about our color, is not about how rich are we, but is about changing the society. Because some people today, in today's world, don't need the billions, don't need the millions to live, but what we need, some of us, just the peace, just to have the peace, to have a living, but in the peace. But I think with this type of platform, I'm really grateful of taking part, and I will really encourage, like what one of the participants said, that we are solutions, because this is one of the things that it's also like giving me more hope to understand that I don't wait the solution from the next person, but I am the solution to change the world. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your inspiring words. And I think that, yes, we are already understand that we need to change our society. And the good news is that we have this solution, we have the idea, because when we're talking about uniting, we should understand what will unite all of us, how to unite, because we are living this thousands of years not understanding, not knowing how to unite, even when we feel it. So many people say that I thought that I'm just alone like this, wanting to change the world, wanting to change the society, to be united with everyone. But we all feel this, we all feel this need. And now this idea, we all have it, which is called creative society, which came from people, which is the reply from people on our own question what to do. And now what we should do is surely share this information with everyone, is share these 8 foundations, this process in which millions of people are now, right now, we are building this creative society, sharing the information about it. And I just want to also to invite everyone to express your thoughts about how we can make this idea spread in more, as soon as possible in the whole humanity, for us to build this creative society, to start living like people, to express that we want to live. And we just need to be united, and we know how. Maybe also, I know that Professor Vitorito, you also wanted to add something, and maybe you could also add about this process of uniting and spreading the information about creative society. Maybe you have some tips or some thoughts about it.
But I think, and Gregory Whitestone touched on this, I think one of the problems that we have out there is the dissemination of information. I think there's a tremendously unequal ability for people to access information about this. I think this is critically important, where people who express other views about what is going on with the climate or other aspects of the environment are deplatformed, they're canceled, as we say, cancel culture. They are effectively thrown out of the discussion. And that sort of thing creates serious problems. And what then happens is that the discussions start to become very stilted in one direction or another, and they're usually stilted in ways to meet certain political or economic agendas. And I think the open exchange of information is critically important, especially on a professional level. One thing that I find particularly frustrating is, again, that as a scientist, it's very hard for me to get my research published because people don't want to hear about this. It doesn't meet the agenda. It doesn't fit the narrative that they're trying to push out there. And I think that to me is a large hurdle that has to be overcome. And I think that you folks have done a tremendous job in trying to overcome that divide. You're trying to bridge that gap. And I applaud you for that. Again, would like to see more of this. Somewhere down the line, I would like to see the proliferation of scientific journals that are much more open and honest and do promote honest debate about some of these problems. Unfortunately, these are few and far between. They're very, very hard to access. So I think the dissemination of good information, of good communication is critical to all of this.
Thank you. And it's really true that we want to see more of this. And thus we are doing these roundtables. We will do it every day, discussing the topic that were raised on the conference, that were discussed, and we'll go deeper. And we also invite our dear viewers to share their feedback about the conference, to film it, and then send to our email address at info@creativesociety.com, and also share it with their fellows, their friends in social media, in social networks, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere they feel free to share the information about the conference. Because we understand that how it is important right now that the whole world will just face these truths. Was one also understanding from me, because this truth is actually awakening from the sleep. Because in this consumerist format, we were just like in a deep dream. We see when you, for example, born, you came to this world, you see it as in the first normal, like everything is set up. As a kid, you explore it, but then you start seeing that something is wrong with this world, that there is a lot of inequality, there is a lot of violence. And then when you start studying this topic, when you start facing the truth, was one very important question that was raised on the conference was slavery in our modern society. And the topic that are much harder to hear and to discuss. Unfortunately, nobody discussed it so openly. Didn't discuss, but now we did it on this conference. And we want to spread this to the whole world so that all of us can just awake from this dream and see the truth and start living in creative society. That's the first step.
Yes, Alex, I just wanted to add to your invitation to send this impressions and feedbacks about the conference. We also invite our dear viewers and everyone to share your questions, because we understand that this is the platform for everyone. Yes, and we understand that we all together should just come to this solution. We all together need to understand how to build a creative society. What should we do? How we should communicate with each other? How can we really distribute this information? We know that every second when we are not sharing this information with other people, there are lots of us, every minute, every moment, every second can cost people's lives. And when you understand it, you just can't keep silent. You just can't be an indifferent person. You know that this is the action which maybe seems like something very simple, or for other persons very difficult. Yes, it depends on us because we are different. But no matter what, this is the time for the truth, and this is the moment when we should start talking and start acting. So we also would like to see our dear viewers, your questions about the creative society, about global crisis, everything that you want to clear up, that you want to know. We will try to find the answers with our dear guests that we are continuing to invite, our specialists, scientists, and all the people that want to take part in this international discussions, because it is important for every one of us. And so we invite you to send us your questions, and we will include your questions in our next international discussions, and talk all together, just to know how to unite all of us, how to be one family that wants to live together in happiness and in respect, and all the good things that we can feel and that we value for us and for everyone. So thank you so much for your feedbacks, and maybe we could continue talking about how we can share the information with each other. Yes, maybe you want to share your ideas. So if everyone wants to raise your voice now, just let's do it.
I think, Anna, I'd like to jump in if that's okay. I think Prince Okita said something powerful that might have gotten missed, which was this idea of hope and recognition that I am the solution. Each of us individually can be, should be, and are part of the solution. So as we go about our day, if we have the courage to maybe have a little bit more of a meaningful conversation with someone that we meet or encounter beyond, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm fine, how are you? And you go about your day, but maybe inquire a bit more and recognize that as a society right now, we're being bombarded with so much information and some misinformation. If we look at social media and what's trending as it relates to music, fashion, and the economy. And I think, Art, it was you who was talking about, being able to get things published, and is it sellable? Is it part of this narrative that is economically profitable? Then we start to lose sight of the things that are actually going on in our world, whether it's slavery, what's happening to the trash, international conflicts, different sorts of catastrophes that happen worldwide. But if we have the courage to maybe have those conversations in a loving way, not by form of debate or to do anything negative, but just to acknowledge that we are living in an inflection point in our society where we are part of the solution. So I appreciate that Prince Okita sort of made that and made me think of that, Anna, as you were asking how. Just simple things where we can action our learnings and action the teachings and the messages and the topics of this conversation one step further in our daily lives.
Thank you. Thank you. You're actually starting our final conclusions for this roundtable. It is we'll give it to every speaker on this roundtable 1-2 minutes. Just share your final thoughts and about the conference, about the importance and sharing the information, please.
I'd like to quote one of the greatest people we know is Mahatma Gandhi, who said that don't wait for changes, be the changes you wish to see in the world. If you don't like the world, the society you live in, start changing it. And it finished this morning, Ukrainian time at 5 p.m. in the morning. If you don't want to live in the society, if you're not satisfied with it, change it. And yesterday's conference, it was a huge breakthrough when people stopped being silent and started talking about the problems. And if we already began talking about the problems, we will definitely solve them, because it's natural. This is how it goes. So let's get together and, let's not postpone our responsibility for the future of our children, our future generations to come, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. That's natural. I mean, we're supposed to do all possible that we can to live a better place for living for our children and grandchildren. That's what we must do. Otherwise, I mean, why to live in the world like that is going to be worse than we inherited from our parents and our grandparents? Let's change it. We'll do it together. But again, only together, united our potential, knowledge, skills, technologies, labor force, whatever. We can do that. I mean, there is no problem with whatever. I mean, there will be people, there are people who are going to criticize us, who are going to disagree with us first. Then there will be another stage when they start looking at us and saying, okay, let's wait what they will do. I'll sit and wait. When there will be, of course, the result, positive results of what we do, of course, they will start saying, okay, yeah, I always thought so. I, knew they would succeed in success. I mean, that's natural. That's how it works. But since we're volunteers of the creating society and we stepped on the first line of those people who are pushing forward this idea of a new world, let's be the heroes. Let's not postpone our responsibility on other people. Let's be those changes that we wish to see in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. And Arthur, maybe you could go next.
Well, I'm thinking in terms of an old saying that says, think globally, but act locally. And I've always tried to adhere to that. My research is thinking globally and trying to look at the global connections of the various environmental systems. The acting locally part, this is where I think we all need to get involved with local communities and promote good things, promote good stewardship of the environment, promote good education systems, promote fair and equitable health delivery and healthcare systems. Those are the sorts of things that we can start to do on a very, very local level that I think start to have impacts on a larger and larger scale. So I think that would be my takeaway and give to everybody on this is that, yes, we have to keep thinking globally in terms of global problems. How do we solve them? But we also need to start acting locally, and hopefully somewhere down the line, this starts to translate into larger and larger scales of the solutions to these problems.
Thank you so much. Jonathan, share your, take your minute, let's say, to share with us what do you think about the importance of all this conferences and creative society projects should.
Yeah, I mean, something that I wanted to mention is that this conference reminded me that to appreciate the information that has been shared at its fullest, you also need to have an open mind. If I can quote somebody, so we need to unlearn what we've learned. We have been kind of brainwashed for so long about something that is happening in the way it is, and that the responsibility is on somebody else. So we don't even comprehend that something else can be done. And I think the state of mind of being open to something new, open to others, other ways should definitely be in the mind of everybody. You cannot convince somebody that doesn't want to be convinced. I mean, it's obvious. So everybody who is watching this conference, if it's for the first time, you should not get into this conference with a closed-minded that you already know what's going to be said. You already have your opinion well locked into what you've learned in the past. You need to open, otherwise nothing will ever change. And I think that's what all of the participants of this movement, the creative society currently being built are. They are dreamers, and they are able to dream about what can be done better, and they are not just locked into this hopelessness. I mean, Prince was saying that there is lack of hope. People are so depressed about the situation that they can't even comprehend that there is something that can be done. Thus, they will not do anything, and they will just remain as they are, trying to get the best out of what they have. I think it's important to act. It's really a motion that we need to put in place, and it cannot be done if people are not acting. So I think that's my final vision on this, is that we need to be open for change. We need to understand that we need to change, but we need to be open for it. And I think this conference brought all of the information that we need to act from now on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe also Manoj, Gurani, you maybe also want to share.
So I want to also just mention my personal feeling that how we united too. So we have to identify the problems first that are the facing, because we are living in different regions. So every region has the different concerns: human rights violation, disasters, environmental problems, so many problems. So if we can't physically involve in these movements, so we can help people, we can support through our ideas. If we are the economically fit, so we can build the society that bringing the changes in their community. How Professor said, we have to mobilize the communities. So we have to be things now as a creative society. We are meeting each other, and we are sharing our thoughts. So we have to be also we have to prevent ourselves also. We are seeing the informations about that political parties, they will feel little this trace that why these activists are gathering, for what reason they are. So we have to be, if we are really want to action, so both we have to be balance ourselves, also our social cause also. So just I wanted to share.
Thank you. Thanks so much for your understanding. And I pass the word to Edward, please. Share your final conclusions.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your input and what you have said and shared with us. It does make me think even more to what I already thought and what I've been doing. I'm just going to make a few comments as I was listening to everyone. I was taking notes so that I would remember to mention. Christina said something very important earlier, and I sort of didn't say anything about that. Money seems to be God at the moment, and we all know that this is what causes a lot of problems in the world. And human life is just not, it's become secondary, third, 10th, 100th, it's not important. And this is the root cause of all our problems, I think. And the sooner we change that, the sooner we realize that this is something that it needs our immediate attention, the quicker we will get to creative society. Because creative society is all about human life and all the other, we're all familiar with the other all eight foundations. But it is crucial that we pass this message across. Very important. Konstantin talked about the voice, like people have to speak, not be afraid. And I've experienced that myself. Very often you cringe, how do I start a conversation with somebody? How do I tell them what will they think? And I just, in the end, I just give up and I just went, you know what? Have you heard of creative society? And you talk about it. And very often, and you won't believe how often this happens, people say it will never happen because we are not united. We will never unite. We're divided. And the thing I say to them, how about you joining? We'll change that. We'll change that concept, which leads me to something that Jonathan said. Concepts, people have concepts and stereotypes in their heads where they just take fake news, for example. Everyone can be familiar with this concept. We are used to dealing with concepts and accepting information based on our concepts that are lodged in our minds. And these concepts dictate our lives. And we don't stop to think for 5 minutes. Is it actual? Is it factual? Is it true? Or do I need to pay a little bit more attention to this or that concept and investigate for myself? We lead busy lives. The information, the inflow of information in the world at humongous quantities at the moment, it is impossible to allow all of it to be perceived by any one human being. It's not possible. So we need to look for the truth. We need to find it. We need to share it. We need to draw people's attention. We need to pay attention to our lives. I also wanted to say another thing Manoj mentioned is building. That's right. We have to build. We have to build, not wait for somebody else. As Prince said as well, we change yourself. Start from yourself. Do it yourself. And everyone will take an example, maybe follow, maybe decide, yeah, actually, that's not such a bad thing. It makes my life better. It makes everybody's life better. So I'm going to round up. And I think everyone is done brilliant job today and yesterday. I mean, I'm still sort of up in the clouds how fantastic and massive this event has been. And I think we will see the change. We will see this little seed that was planted, it's going to grow and it's going to develop and it's going to give more siblings. Thank you, everyone, again, for allowing me to speak here and being here with you.
Thank you so much, Edward. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, everyone who are here with us, for everyone who organized and make a reality this huge conference. And thank you, everyone who is watching us and who will just run and share the information about the only solution we have, the creative society. And I just want to remind that this is what we're doing, is uniting people. We are not looking to blame. We don't want to we don't want to judge no one. We are talking about the unity. We understand that if someone still don't know how to act or have some doubts about creative society, it's because we should explain more, and this is our responsibility. So when one knows what is Creative Society project about, it is very clear for everyone that it is for uniting all of us. And I just want to invite all of us, our dear guests and viewers, to watch video, a very very unique video which was made by different people from different countries. It is a song of unity, a song of creative society, of life, of our future. Thank you so much, everyone, and let's just look at this beautiful clip. Thank you so much.
Oh we know what to do to bring the world prosperity. Only way that is true is through creative society. Let's make the change together. We're stronger if we're one. Creating peace forever. Together we are strong. It is time for truth. Nothing to fear for anymore. We can just open any door. It is time for truth. Tell the whole world what we're about. Stand up and shout it out. It's time for real love from above, 'cause we're all one family. We can't unite the world and reconcile humanity. Let's end the wars for profit, address the pressing topics, and get connected everywhere like fiber optic. Read the signs of the times, it ain't hard to see. It's time for peace and love, it's time for unity. It's time to put aside the drama, do it for the youth. It's time to stand together, for real, it's time for truth. It is time for truth. Nothing to fear for anymore. We can just open any door. It is time for truth. Tell the whole world what we're about. Stand up and shout it out.